Governor Cox also cites a memo that Bernanke's office issued a memo calling Utah a sanctuary state.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. It would take multiple videos to summarize everything of my 8.3K thousand videos, for which would sum up the church's threat to the United States of America that is in play right now and to the rest of the world. I would have to go over the second vision. I would have to go over 19 July 1840 and the Joseph Smith Papers. I would have to go over Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit to Governor Wilbur Boggs. I would have to go over the forged documents of Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, John Taylor's prophesied threats. I would have to go over the United States shutting down the church such that it does not exist. They're still lying to us. And then Heber J. Grant incorporating a corporation rather than the church. And Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. and his way to perfection, which now blames Jesus for the Latter-day coup. And then all the prophetic threats to pay up or be burned. And then Nelson taking over and all the crimes that he's doing in the background, trying to keep them secret from you. And then Oaks getting leaked in 2020, confessing to rigging the presidential elections. And then Nelson's last conference with Oaks supporting it, saying that this is it, guys, you're all gonna die. And then finally Oaks, after the unsuccessful event on the 1st, comes out on the 2nd and says it's now Easter, that you're all gonna be burned. And so Trump got elected, did his shock and awe, but backed off on some stuff. Other stuff he's gotten through and is going forward with. And so there are prophecies in the Book of Mormon, which are not really prophecies, it's actually leaking the plot of this terrorist organization that's doing it right now. I'd have to, again, do a whole video that I've already done multiple times about Joseph Smith Sr. in Canandaigua, New York, as the Master Mason on 9/11/1826, saving the life of William Morgan and taking over the rest of the publication of the book, which became the Book of Mormon. And so there's not just York Rite Freemasonry, which is completely different than the Scottish Rites Freemasonry, which became the enemy, infiltrated by the Illuminati. And I'd have to go over Brigham Young and how he's part of the enemy, became the leader of the group that infiltrated Joseph Smith's religion, couped it, murdered him, stole it, turned it Christian, fled the country, human trafficking, sex trafficking, adults and children, framing and blaming Joseph with forged documents for everything that he implemented. And that already took 4 minutes. without any explanation. Just a listing of the summary. And so according to the prophecies, we have the fall of the great and abominable church coming. And for this, we need to go over 1 Nephi chapter 22. And so before we do that, I probably should go over the list. That's what I meant to have up. Oh my God. Where are you? Presidential actions. So, Trump has a whitehouse.gov website where he lists all of his executive orders for each day. He's already on page 6. So the ones for today and yesterday even. So I'm glad I've found this site so I can quickly obtain them without searching for them. The news doesn't want to cover all of them, which is stupid. They only cover the ones they think will get them views. So today, he signed the removing of barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence. Yeah, because AI helped him win the election. No duh. Saw this coming. I did the videos. Right after the election, the stock market just... All of the villains around the world were waiting to see the results of AI on our election. And everybody wants in now. And so yes, the stock market is also skyrocketing. I told you to pay attention to that. This is the Church of Jesus Christ. They're the major stock investors. They are going to profit off of this. This is insider trading, is what it's criminally called. Then we have the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. He has no interest in science and technology. It's all about money making. Declassification of RFK and others as well. Martin Luther King's assassination and Ronald F. Kennedy, his assassination. I don't think it's Ronald F. Ron Kennedy, whatever his middle name is. And it was Harry from the video, if anybody caught it. It wasn't William, it was Harry. I don't really follow the crown. I just catch things here and there. The Meghan Markle husband. And so, yeah, all of the documents have now been declassified. We can now find out it was our CIA that murdered them all. I've been warning you about this. CIA worked with psychologists to destroy America. Success, mission accomplished. Now it's in AI. All from Nazi Germany, giving them asylum, which is also interesting, because it should be in here. Not saying it. From the first day. Strengthening American leadership in digital finance technology. Again, the major stock companies are getting a boost. The bribes paid off. Federal recognition of Lumbee tribe of North Carolina, which is interesting. didn't know they were not recognized. I thought all Native Americans had been recognized and were given land from way back, what, 1800s or something like that, as part of the settlement agreement, after having completely destroyed them and pushed them westbound. Executive grant of clemency for Terrence Sutton, Mr. Dark Web, designation of Ansar Allah as a foreign terrorist organization, and I'm gonna bust up laughing. This is going to be posted tomorrow, most likely. I would have liked to have gotten it out today because Nelson had ordered Judge Shelby to dismiss the case. He's tampering with the judgment. Ah, yeah, Houthi rebels. Gotcha. So yeah, he's helping Netanyahu there with that move. They've been attacking Israel as well. So no direct link. So let's see if we can find an indirect link. How do they get their funding? Membership and ranks. Iran, North Korea, and Russia support. But I'm not seeing. Saudi Arabia. Interesting. Trump has just made a business deal with, so. But there's your connection to the church, is through Saudi Arabia. Oh, Trump. Trump. See, he doesn't care who's with who, and it's all about getting money. And designating the Houthis as terrorists to help Netanyahu, that's only because of his daughter with Jared. She converted to Judaism because of him. She went to Jared. But yeah, the church also is funding the Houthis through Saudi Arabian funding. With the princess ambassador, with the giving machines that are still up and running. So they're funding terrorism. God. And so, yeah, I sent the Trump FBI notification that the church is funding terrorism. Not just the ICE, but also for the Houthi. Oh my God. Why? Why does the church get away with everything? Why? I don't get it. Executive grant of clemency to Andrew Zavosky. Okay, so he was a police officer convicted in a murder of 20-year-old Karen Hilton Brown, an unarmed black man in the back, or another person with his neck on him. Black Lives Matter protests of 2020 after the murder of George Floyd. Yeah. He's going after Biden. Biden didn't pardon himself. Hint, hint. Dear God, you knew that was coming. You knew it was coming. Nobody believed. And these were yesterday. The grant of clemency and the designation of terrorist organization. And so then nominations transmitted to the Senate. Yeah, Seth, he's moving forward, I guess. So prepare for war against Canada. Ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity was from the 21st. Actually, I do need to get the 21st stuff. So we're going to have to do page 2. Where are you? Because this is important, because the Book of Mormon told us all this stuff was going to happen. So it's important to keep up on this. Because you got to keep up with Trump on all this. Because you'll get lost if you don't have some organized system to figure it out. Okay, so it's just one more. And we'll do it quick. That's cool. All right, so it's keeping Americans safe in aviation. An assassination of all birds. Hilarious. Okay. Dear God. So many projects are piling up. You know, the declassification files. You know, Trump was right. It was the CIA, but there's the evidence that was being covered up. So now the new CIA guy got put in. Isn't that great? Unbelievable. All right. So some of the other stuff. Judge had temporarily stopped the birthright ban of Trump. And people are now all of a sudden aware of the Constitution and the 14th Amendment, Section 1. Apparently they forgot when Roe v. Wade got cooed by our Supreme Court. But when it comes to babies, we draw the line. Women, they were responsible for the fall. Oh my God, you can't have babies without women. Unbelievable. All right, and so yeah, he's begun the the firing and removing from office of all federal employees who are DEI. DEI is not the 1965 equal opportunity law, which Trump also overturned. Trump, you went too far on that one. See, the equal opportunity employer law was only to not discriminate against people in conformity with the 14th Amendment, Section 1. But he is only thinking in terms of DEI, and yes, blacks as well, but specifically LGBTQ. And that's what he was thinking. And when you have Stephen Miller on the case next to him, whispering in both ears on both shoulders, yeah, no duh. And so the merit-based is now going to rule over for the employment. And so people who are graduated from high school, graduated from college, are going to have a tougher time getting into the job market. They're going to have to start at the bottom and work their way up, and most likely won't get a career in their education field anymore. Not that we were anyway under equal opportunity. That's why I outsmarted the whole education system and made my own education. And I'm doing it. Haven't changed jobs. I was told that that was going to be the case, that I'd never have my own home. That one happened. But, yeah, this is Trump's version of the government shutdown. I had been paying attention to Congress's constant pushing forward of the finance bill and threatening a government shutdown each and every time, and we did for 15 minutes, even though the news says it was barely averted at the last minute. No, we went 15 minutes over when they finally voted to extend it. Seriously? You didn't learn from George Stephanopoulos? Or Nephelophagus, or whatever the last name is pronounced? Got to see it in front of me. That's a tricky one. Because I'm thinking Sesame Street. And so, yeah, that's all he's doing, is removing DEIs. Because 65, there was no such thing as BTQIAPO+. It was just gays and lesbians back then. And so it wasn't until the 90s when psychologists in the public school system were telling kids, oh, well, obviously you're a Q or a B or a T or a I or an A or a P or a plus. We're already gays and lesbians. And so Bill Maher did his New Rules segment that was quite infamous, or famous, about the infamous psychology, but he doesn't recognize that it was psychology that caused it in our kids to think that they can be whatever they want to be. Thanks to Star Trek New Generations, when Data created an artificial intelligence. And then said, oh, we didn't give you a sex. Well, what kind of sex do you want to be? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Whatever you feel is okay. And thus began LGBTQIAPO+. And they did that on purpose to sabotage you for Trump. You didn't listen. You didn't learn from Nazi Germany with Stephen Miller, and here you are. And so, yes, you had your identifications changed. You had your birth certificates changed. You were framed and set up to be discriminated against. And so, yeah, there's no more asylum programs in America. So, government offices here in Utah for those seeking asylum, as Utah, like I told you, sanctuary state. They're going into schools, they're going into churches, they're gonna get you. You're now illegal. You are not in the asylum program anymore. If you are not a citizen, you're out. And so all of the Islamists in this complex should be gone pretty soon. Unless Nelson is doing a naughty no-no, having Governor Cox shut down ICE to keep them from doing their job. I warned you. I then did a series about what's supposed to happen. Only Welfare Square got popular. Nobody believed. Mormons are in denial. No. Yes. Church is evil. I don't have time in every single video to tell you all the information you need to know. 8.3K plus videos. You need to believe me. For your own safety. Because this is why we're going over it, is because of the Book of Mormon warning us of what is coming. And so, yeah, all of those who are from Islam are specifically the targets for this. And when there's going to be war. Islam will not just stand by. So this is angering people. Chicago has already been hit. That made the news as people had found out about it. But they're going state to state here. It is not just certain places that they're targeting. Because Chicago was deporting them to Colorado, and Colorado was deporting them to Utah. So if they follow that, we're coming. They're coming here. I don't know, maybe they're not good at investigation like our cops aren't good at investigation, always having to call out on the news, we need your help figuring out what happened. We don't have a clue. We don't know how to investigate. We just get paid by giving out parking tickets, speeding tickets, meeting our quotas. And so, yeah, Islamists. So the terrorist thing, Houthis, yeah, these are all tied together here. And it's good that he's getting rid of terrorists, because since '65, there was the Refugee Act allowing Islamists to come to America to seek asylum and refuge from their religious abusers. And unfortunately, they were lying. They became sleeper cells in America, as you can tell, because the women still wear the religious abuse on their heads. Sexual abuse. They tricked America to come in, as well as all over the world, all for the purpose of their Judgment Day, which began on October 7th. And so, deportations, they're here. And so those who are Mormons, who are going to need to be deported, Yeah, how am I going to get you to Zion now? It's wild. That's why I'm having to pay attention, because I need to know. I need to know. It's driving me crazy. It was supposed to happen in 2021, but Nelson failed. And so they're rebooting it this year. And so the third Nephi 7 is not 2021 anymore. It's now 2024 and 5. But it was only because I found out that they were using the Jewish religious calendar in 3rd Nephi 27 or 3rd Nephi 7. That's how I was able to figure it out. And so, yeah, the church. We'll just go over the list in order. The church is being sued again by 13 people in a collective now, who had originally filed separately, but now they're doing a group suing, and it was assigned to Judge Shelby here in Utah back in April 2024, and they're claiming tithing fraud, but they're calling it donations. They're gonna lose. And so people are not going to my videos explaining tithing yet again. Do pretty pictures for you, and what do I get? And the church is trying to claim religious exemption. Tithing is sacred, not criminal. We're a religion. They're not. They're a corporation. Thus, everything is a crime, because they're defrauding the government, claiming to be a religion. They're defrauding Mormons, claiming to be a religion. They're forcing you to pay to have sex with a wife, and being very abusive, threatening you with death and excommunication and abuse and torture. They did it to me. They did it to Avraham Gileadi. They do it to anybody that gets excommunicated. This church is evil, literally. They're sticking to their heritage, coming from the Illuminati. And it's sad that Mormons are so brainwashed by their lies. They just lie, and they repeat the lie, and they repeat the lie, and they repeat the lie, and somebody does their research and goes, wait a minute, the church is lying. And then they get punished by the church. Threaten to shut up and leave the church alone and believe the truth that it's lies. And so, yeah, Gail Miller got revenge on Sandra Tanner, as Gail Miller was the one who financed the laundering of the Joseph Smith papers. But the church isn't doing anything with them. They're just sitting on the internet. And the church is trying to make as much money as they can by the rich people who can afford the books, who will never read them. It'll just sit on their library, looking pretty, and look at us, we have the Joseph Smith papers. You don't, because you're poor. And so, yes. And so Sandra Tanner, who was the original group, Utah Lighthouse Ministry, that was exposing the Joseph Smith papers before they were called Joseph Smith papers, showing, hey, this church is not the same from the origin. And Mormonism, Shadow or Reality was the big book they published. And so, yeah, the church pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, because by not saying anything needs to be changed or added, Mormons think, oh, okay, well, everything's fine. It just proves that the church was right all along. I've been telling you that for years. And that's why the 19 July 1840 document that I turned into a scripture with footnoting, making it available for you on Academia, is so vital for Mormons to understand. It means the church is covering up and lying. That one sermon alone is the summary for all my videos. It warns about the latter days. It warns who the enemy is. It warns of the threat to the government and the enemy who's going to coup the government. And here we are. Joseph Smith was right. That one document. And then how to build Zion and design it. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to an observatory. But it ain't going to happen if Mormons want to die. I want my observatory. And it'd be nice if we can get it before 2045. In 2017, I purchased a telescope. And I've never been in a position to pull it out and use it, despite everything that's happened. And I'm just so sad. And so I've had to use my stellarium instead, and what a waste. You know, the woman that I was hoping would be sharing it with me left before the latter days even got started. Anyway, and so yeah, Nelson, as a result of this lawsuit, which is likely to be revealed tomorrow, because Shelby hasn't made a decision yet, hasn't made a ruling. And so Nelson comes out in the church news late tonight after I do my little thing. Just a quick thing for you. And says that they're celebrating the anniversary of humanitarian efforts with the Seventh-day Adventists, who also have a lawyer in this lawsuit. Yeah, not rigged whatsoever to threaten Judge Shelby to rule in the church's favor. Tithing is not for humanitarian efforts. That's the big con. But this is being blown out of proportion to claim that, oh no, donations won't be able to be done with churches anymore. No. The church is a corporation, not a religion. So Seventh-day and evangelicals have no part in this. It's not a donation. Tithing is not a donation. No Christian church uses tithing as an extortion threat for their membership. Only this church. That's what's at stake, and they blew their argument, and they're going to lose. God, nobody listens to me. Everybody thinks they know better, and they're going to get the church, and then they lose. And then they're so ashamed that they never even bothered to admit that I was right, because they never come to my channel to believe me, to listen. It just pisses me off. The one person who knows, because he did the research, and he's not getting heard, the church is winning because they're silencing me. If the church had left me alone this whole time, I would have hundreds of thousands of views per video. And because I don't, 40,000. And that church said, no, we cannot let him get popular. We must shut him up. And they did it. So, rental prices are rental apartments, specifically one's getting sued, but even this complex property management that has several in this valley as well, they're all price gouging Utahns. And I had warned about this for years as the church is trying to kick people out. They want to evict from Utah, deport from Utah, the undesirables. And this is one way to do it. Make housing too expensive, and so that people have to leave. And so they only want rich people who believe the lies of the church. That's who they want. If you're poor, if you're homeless, you're out. And so this is going to be the first wave of purge in Utah, as they're trying to hold off on ICE doing their job here in Utah. So pay attention to that. And then security clearances have stopped for certain federal people. Pompeo was one of them today. And it was funny because I saw on the news from last night, Pompeo was on Fox News being interviewed. And then today, Pompeo cut off from security clearance and security guards. I guess Trump didn't like what Pompeo had to say. Hilarious. So DA, Van, MLK, JFK, Ronald, Kennedy, or Robert. Isn't it Robert? It's Robert. I'm calling him Ronald. Oh my God. Let's see. Biden to be locked up. I saw separate news from the BBC. They were going over China and their use of psychological asylums, psychiatric asylums, just like the Nazis did. And psychology is evil, and that's why they flourish here in Utah. They dominate Utah. Over 500 asylums in Utah. And Kennedy was assassinated because he did away with asylums of the Nazis working with the CIA. That was part of the reason, is that he was threatening their plot to overthrow the government, and thus assassinated. With George Poppy Bush there at the corner at the fateful turn, caught on camera, and then was in the Watergate Tower. Yep. And then Bob Woodward talking with the Mormon Deep Throat. Hilarious. Hilarious. Was Harry Reams, was he the one in Deep Throat? Because he lived in Utah before he died. We need to find out. I don't know my porn movies as I should. Church said no porn. Harry Reams. Deep Throat, yep. Utah boy. March 19th, 2013. Devil and Miss Jones. Yeah, I heard my childhood peers in grade school talking about these movies, and I'm going, huh? I don't understand. What are those words you were saying? Nobody's telling me. Let's see. It just says he's Jewish. They moved to New York. Went to the University of Pittsburgh to become a dentist. Deep throat. I get it. Hilarious. He was a U.S. Marine, honorable discharge following a hardship leave. Lived in Manhattan. And death. Reams died of pancreatic cancer, 65, at the Salt Lake City Veterans Administration Medical Center. That's why he was here. It was for the Veterans Medical Center. No children, least that any woman wants to claim. I remember meeting basketball legend. I'm forgetting his name. I'm seeing him there at the YMCA, the boys club, YMCA. Yeah, the YMCA. Yeah, it's not the women's club. It was the boys club, the YMCA. There in Newburgh, New York. Augustine found out about it from the paper that he was not supposed to read. And volunteered us to coach a team of kids to play basketball. And it's not Worthland. Oh my God, I'm going to kick myself when I hear the name. It's bugging me. Wilt Chamberlain. Oh my hell, how could I forget Wilt Chamberlain? And yeah, he didn't look too happy with us being coaches. But nonetheless, yeah, he bragged, as I found out later on in life, of having sex with an unknown number of women, over 1,000. He thought that was a token of manhood to be able to do that. But yeah, lots of the sports celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, women want their baby, and they don't really want a relationship per se, but he loves me. And then Castle movies or shows come out explaining the dangers of groupies and stalkers and fans, and movies come out. The Fan with Ghostbusters guy and the other guy from Home Alone, as they kidnap a Celtic player. Celtics. It's supposed to be Celtic. Nonetheless. Anyway. Yeah, Trump doing business with Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. Davos. Trump virtually spoke at Davos, World Economic Forum or whatever, in which he threatened everybody to pay Trump loyalty money by doing business in America or be tariffed. I'm sure that'll go over well. Everybody will conform and comply. Trump is exerting himself as the king of the world. Donald, world leader. And so, good, we got them all. Alright, so, church is funding Houthis. Oh my hell. I warned my government and they do nothing. They do nothing. Okay. So, scriptures time. Nobody wants to listen to scriptures. Doing it at the end. And so, in verse 12, 1 Nephi chapter 22, talking about me and being the man like Moses. But it's going to come after the fall of the great and abominable church, like I've been telling you. Wherefore he will bring them again out of captivity once you get scattered. That's where we'll get to 3 Nephi 7 and 19 July 1840 and section 101 verse 51. And they shall be gathered together to the lands of their inheritance here in Zion, southern Illinois, brought out of obscurity, out of darkness, because of the lies that the church keeps repeating, and you believe them. And they shall know that the Lord is their Savior and Redeemer, the mighty one of Israel, the man like Moses, Jewish. Remember, not Jesus. There is no Jesus. It was a Constantine fraud. See how he's fooled everybody with his repetition of lies? Now, this is where it pertains to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, aka the corporation, and the blood of that great and abominable church. This ties into the Jews calling the Greeks the great and abominable church for what they did to their temple. And I've been doing these videos for you here in these final months with pictures. The Jews called what the Greeks did to their Jerusalem temple the abomination of desolation. Because the Greeks came in, took over the temple, destroyed the altar, and rebuilt it in 10 days and began offering Greek offerings on it. And that's why the Jews don't sacrifice pigs. It's not that pigs are bad to eat, they are good to eat. It's in the Jewish law, except for the Greeks offering pigs, therefore the Jews don't offer pigs. That was from the Qumran community that made that the law because of that. So you can have your bacon, you can have your ham for Christmas, it's okay. But the Jews are strict in the literal interpretation with Christian lies imposed over their scriptures. And so Jews believe the lies of the Christians, and thus why Elohim is singular and not plural all the way through, and so on and so forth. Why they think it's literal history, not prophecy of their latter-day man like Moses, Messiah ben David. And then the Greeks also began prostituting women in the temple for their creation reenactment, creation of man. And so under the Roman period, men got added to that. So you can be a woman and pay for men to have sex, or you can be a man and have man sex. It wasn't considered homosexual as we understand it today. And so people screw up the Sodom and Gomorrah fall by saying it was because of homosexuality and ignore Ezekiel 16, where it was because neglecting the poor. But the church insists it has to be homosexuality, not neglecting the poor, because the church neglects the poor. That's why they can't put poor. And so thus the whore of all the earth shall turn upon their own heads. The law of Purim, coming up 13th through the 15th of March with a lunar eclipse. The curse of Joseph Smith. The curse of Joseph Smith. Smith. The curse of Joseph Smith. For they, the great and abominable church, that means Mormons, will war among themselves. And because of the lawsuits about tithing, thanks to the whistleblower, this is what Mormons are pissed with. This is what faux exes are pissed with, is tithing. That the church is hoarding money as Mormons suffer, neglecting the poor. And so this is the war that's already going on in a court battle. But when Judge Shelby says no, instead of recusing himself like he should have, you're going to have more anger among ex-foes and more pridefulness of Mormons. Yeah, true church. Completely unaware that they're prostituting their wives just like the Greeks were doing. That's the great and abominable church. Destroyed Joseph Smith's altar and is offering new offerings on the altar and prostituting of women and paying to have sex with tithing. And the sword of their own hands shall fall upon their own heads. Mormons are going to do battle here. And so this is why I go over the news with you, is to see how it's going to happen, see what's coming up. And so with Trump attacking DEI, LGBTQ, IAPO+, and blacks, and Hispanics, immigrants, and refugees, all concentrated here in Utah, plus everybody's getting pissed off with the church hoarding money. This is going to come to a head pretty soon, depending on how Trump is able to get things going. He hesitated on some stuff that were key to this. That's why I'm paying attention to why Oaks said, Easter, we're going to get you. So 3 more months? Seriously? Because February, March, and then April is when Easter is on the 20th. 3 months. We got to wait for 3 months. No! Don't want to wait any longer. God. And so every nation which shall war against thee, O house of Israel, shall be turned one against another. Yeah, that's what Trump is doing. With tariffs, that's when the stock market will fall. And with the stock market fall, you'll see a ripple effect on the world stock markets. And then companies around the world fall, governments fall, and descend into war. Putin, Xi, Kim Jong-un, Mohammed bin Salman, Palestinians, Islam altogether. Everybody will descend into war around the world. This is why Trump held off. Because he needs to set some things up first and get certain people who bribed him richer first, before he then lets them know, I'm about to declare tariffs, you'll want to pull your money out now. And so pay attention to the stock market. Because next week, right? Yeah. Next Friday is the last day of the month. And so February 1st. Pay attention. It's coming. He's already put out the threat to every nation now. Not just the Panama, Canada, Greenland, China. everybody now. He is threatening world war against everybody who doesn't pay him. And they shall fall into the pit, law of Purim, Jewish story of Esther, from Deuteronomy, the law, chapter 19, verse 19, into the pit which they had digged to ensnare the people of the Lord. That's what Oakes said. We're going to murder Mormons on Easter. But that trap that they are currently involved with, that's why I did my videos of Trump coming after the church. It's because of this, the Book of Mormon. Now, the church doesn't want to be destroyed. They want their kingdom back. They wanted Trump to do it to other states, and during the chaos, the church then becomes king of Utah, and then expands as America falls and becomes the different nation states in 3rd Nephi chapter 7. The Book of Mormon is saying that this will fail. And that's what I exposed. Trump ordered Utah to be deported because it's a sanctuary state. Governor Cox got caught. The plot of the church got exposed. That's why I told you the church wanted Cox, not Lyman. That's why when Cox got booted out, ran independently, because the church wanted Cox. And the church got him, because the church wanted him. And all that fight against Zion shall be destroyed. The church is fighting against Zion. And they're winning. And that great whore who hath perverted the right ways of the Lord, yea, that great and abominable church shall tumble to the dust. Now I have learned from 2020 that it is literal. It's not just metaphoric. So I'm eagerly awaiting this, and great shall be the fall of it. For behold, saith the prophet, the time speedily come that Satan shall have no more power over Mormons. For the day soon cometh that all the proud and they that do wickedly shall be as stubble. From Malachi. And the day cometh that they must be burned. Malachi also was written during the Roman period of time, not pre-600 BCE. This is not literal history. And so, yeah. For the time soon cometh that the fullness of the wrath of God shall be poured out upon all the children of men. For he will not suffer the wicked, that they shall destroy the righteous. He's doing a pretty good job. Not God, but the wicked. They're doing a pretty good job. Wherefore he will preserve the righteous by his power, even if it so be the fullness of his wrath which must come. And the righteous be preserved even unto the destruction of their enemies by fire. Joseph Smith's second vision, they that come shall burn them, their own weapon against themselves. And so we'll be saved even if it is by fire. So that's why I'm kind of wondering how, because nobody acknowledges me. Here I am, knowing what's going on in the big picture. I've already demonstrated how I am the man like Moses, I have the gifts of seership, prophet, revelator, translator even. Again today I showed how I'm a translator. And yet, nobody acknowledges who I am, especially the church. They know who I am, and they will not give it up. They're going to go down to their graves before they will transfer the church to me so that I can save you and get you to Zion. Because otherwise I don't know how to do it. Because the United States has to fall, the church has to fall. But then how do I get people from outside of the United States into the United States so that we can build Zion? Because the church has all of the contact information and the bishop's email contacts to let everybody know about this. The church has to give it over to me so that I can have access to make it perfect. It's so frustrating. I've told you about working at Beehive Clothing in the warehouse. We had 7 employees in the warehouse working full 40 hours a week, plus Saturday overtime, because the system that was in place, which they said was the best we could come up with, overloaded us day after day. And the pick line was not getting filled on time, and they had to sit and wait for it to get filled so that they can do the orders, and it was a complete and utter disaster. But that was the best that they could come up with. And so I work there for a little bit, and I see how the system is run, and I mentally am able to see the big picture and how things could be improved. It's one of the gifts I have. And I had a plan, but the manager said no. And I also learned that the guy whose plan we were doing was still working there. And so when he found a better job and left, and then the manager left and was replaced, I brought it up again with the new manager, and he said, yeah, sure, whatever. And we fully transitioned according to my plans, and 2 people, 4 hours, done. Pick lines all filled up, ready for the next day. And because the church was wanting to figure out something to do to get everything transferred over to the distribution center, that was perfect. And so now all it needs is just one person with the floor stock, for which they just get bound up when they're full up on a pallet, put onto the shelving unit for delivery over to the distribution center now. And so there's no pick line anymore there, it's over at the distribution center. It was a real simple thing, but when you don't follow the Book of Mormon about turning the seed of the word into fruit of completion, you literally are in darkness. You are primitive in nature. Thus the Lamanites, primitives. Nephites, highly developed civilization. And yet, and so, yeah, and so here we have in verse 20, I see Moses. The Lord will surely prepare a way for his people unto the fulfilling of the words of Moses, which he spake, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you like unto me. Him ye shall hear in all things whatsoever he shall say unto you. And it shall come to pass that all those who will not hear that prophet shall be cut off, precisely as it stands in Joseph Smith History, verse 40. I declare unto you that Nephi, which was the name given by Joseph Smith for the second vision, declare unto you that this prophet of whom Moses spake was the Holy One of Israel, wherefore he shall execute judgment and righteousness. 2 Nephi chapter 2, verse 3. He's a Mormon. 107 or 103, verse 16. Mormon. Let's see, and yeah, the one mighty and strong. Mormon. Every Mormon knows that one. But because they didn't footnote it to Deuteronomy 18, verse 15, nobody sees it. But they should. 20. They don't. Oh, there it is in 21. Deuteronomy 18, 15. Because it's the exact quote. Other places aren't the exact quote, even though they are. So the church says it's Jesus. And so, yeah, you have to listen to me. Are you listening? 1 hour and 10 minutes in? That's all I have to do, is warn you. I have no magical powers. I have no strength and authority to command Nelson to hand it over or Governor Cox to stop it or tell Trump off. I can get him to say oranges of the investigation, but that's as far as my powers go. And so they talk about the churches being built up to get gain. Priestcraft. As he would get to in 2 Nephi chapter 26. This is the great and abominable church. To get gain. To have power over the flesh. To become popular in the eyes of the world. Seeking the lusts of the flesh. You know, they condemn pornography, but they're all in for prostituting the Mormon women. So they must be brought low to the dust, must be consumed as stubble, according to the prophecies. Okay? So Nephi makes an end at that time. So 3 Nephi chapter 7 again. Putting this in the context of the fall of the great and abominable church. 2020, Biden was elected, not Trump. The Kingmen did not get Trump on the throne in 2020. So in 2021, they were supposed to murder the chief judge. Biden was supposed to be assassinated, and they were supposed to assassinate all of Congress. They failed on January 6th. And so they were supposed to destroy the federal government. And then each state would say, well, Biden was the president, you murdered him. And so Harris is now the president, but chaos ensued because Harris was there on January 6th and got murdered too. They failed. And others are saying, no, Trump is our president. And so they established Trump as their president in 2021, after the United States has a national divorce that Marjorie Taylor Greene was announcing. And it didn't happen. And so this is all being rebooted for this year. And so with Trump winning, they did establish a king. They had put Jacob on the throne. And so he's now doing everything to destroy the government. DEI is the first stage for that, to remove undesirable people, to cause the contention, to cause civil war. He wants it. He wants the chaos in the world. He wants it. But the rich are going to profit off of it. The church is profiting off of it. And so he's hesitating for that final stroke to destroy the federal government, destroy the world governments, and take the money and run. Just like the church is planning. And so, yes, the government that's doing this is in league with the church. They've made a covenant with each other to destroy the government. This church were the ones who murdered Joseph and Hiram in Carthage jail. And yeah, verse 6. The regulations of the government were destroyed because of the secret combination of the friends and kindreds of those who murdered the prophets, the Danites. Got a whole long ledger that Nelson released in 2023, right before Thanksgiving. Rushed it out. Did the 6-hour video series for you. And so, with the fall of the government, Trump is going to be a wanted man, and he's going to flee with his loyalists. And they're going to set up themselves somewhere to pretend to have a kingdom again. That's what verse 12 says. And so, yeah, he is a fast runner. And so that's before the 29th of March. The 30th, thus ended the 30th year. So Trump is planning to do it before Easter, before the 29th of March. That's the end of the religious calendar year, which is the 30th year. So the 31st year begins on the 30th of March. That's the new year of the religious calendar of the Jews. And so that's when the states will divide into independent nation states. So the fall of the government's going to happen before the 29th because they failed in 2021. They're rebooting it this year. Are they going to fail again? We'll see. Trump is doing things to purposely destroy. But he's hesitating to make sure that the stock market keeps going up so that people get their money who bribed them. Almost done, guys. Almost done. And so the 31st year, America is divided. Different states. And this is where we see in verse 14 what's going to happen to the great and abominable church. And so, after discussing how the different states are going to run their own state, the states will stone the prophets, the great and abominable church, and cast them out from among them. The church is going to be exposed with the war among themselves over tithing, being a sanctuary state. And thus MAGA will hate the church for, harboring terrorists and illegals. And Democrats will hate the church because of the hoarding of money and the neglect of DEI. And Mormons are infighting in the fall of the church. There's going to be murders of the prophets and them fleeing. Verse 51 of section 101's Parable of Joseph Smith, which he comments on in 19 July 1840. That's the fall of the church right there. After the 30th of March. Oh, crap. Gotta wait that long? Okay? This is why I'm paying very close attention to all the news. And so, then it talks about what I'm going to do, what I'm doing. And it'd probably be best to do playlists, because I'll have to reteach everybody because they're all new. And so it's unclear, because cast prophets out, yeah, you're going to be casting out Mormons as well. Mormons are going to be hated in America because of what the church did and gets exposed for. And so that's why I told you at the end of the previous video a month or two ago, is that when coming to Zion, and I would recommend now, changing your underwear. Your underwear will expose you as Mormon. And so I know it's a difficult transition to make. I didn't realize it at first. I'm going one morning when I'm putting on my clothes, I'm realizing, oh, yeah, I don't need to wear this underwear anymore. Oh crap, I gotta buy new underwear. What do I buy? And so I began by not wearing the tops. And so when I would get future money, I would then look into buying new underwear so that I would no longer need the bottoms anymore. Because that's going to give you away. People are going to hate you for being Mormon. They don't give a damn of whether Joseph was a Jewish prophet, that the Book of Mormon was warning that all of this was going to happen. They don't care. They are going to hear the name Mormon, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS Church, doesn't matter, you're now the enemy. And so you do not want to be associated with this church. Take it off, get it replaced. You're not going to church anymore, right? You're not paying tithing anymore, right? I know you're going to be faced with your family and friends and bishop and neighbors who are all going to attack you, threaten you to come back. Don't give in. Learn the truth, to stand up to them. Say, no, this church is lying to us. I will not be a part of this church anymore. I don't care if you do the bishop thing to tell the church you want your records removed. That doesn't matter. They'll keep your records anyway. And it's a good thing because I need access to those so I can get those of you to come to Zion who want to come. And so that's what I'll be doing. Is I'll be ministering to you and condemning Mormons for their wickedness. You know, I'll be at risk because of this. But all I'll have to do is say Ivanka is a Jew, Trump supports Jews, and then they'll shut up and go, oh, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. So, alrighty. And so, yeah, I'm supposed to minister with power and great authority. It's because I'm the guy. And then Mormons will be angry with me because they can't disbelieve my words because they come straight from the Book of Mormon and straight from Joseph Smith. So where are my little angels? Where are you girls? Angels are supposed to minister unto me daily. It's messengers. And I tried to see if there was a Geminid meteor shower, but that's not until the 21st or 22nd this year of December. That was interesting. We better not get extended to then. Oh my God. Because my brother, he's not going to Zion. After what he did to me in 2023, and even though he got punished by the church for it, he ain't going. He wasn't going anyway because of what he did in 2008, along with my whole family. But nonetheless. But yeah, he's going to be stoned and suffered death by Mormons in the war. Supposedly, I'm going to raise him from the dead. We'll let that prophecy not happen. Pushed him off the roof. That was prophecy. Gnostic Gospels. You don't know that one? It's a funny one. Jesus was a boy. They were on the roof with another boy, and Jesus pushes him off. He dies. He brings them back to life, calms the parents down. We were on the roof in Placentia. We were daring each other to jump. So push. He didn't die, he didn't get hurt, but he didn't do it again. Did I do it? I think I did once, just to do it. Because I tried to be like Superman, to fly. That's why I was wanting to jump. Because the sister's bedroom that was in the front of the house had a little alcove roof that was a little lower than the main roof. It was just a one-story, but nonetheless. Yeah, my bones were stronger back then. As I got older, I realized I can't do some of the things I used to do as a kid. And so, there, 30 seconds. So yes, this year. All before this year. So it is not that. So that'll be interesting. But I don't have an Aaron. I don't have a lawyer to help me in the courtroom to do a friend of the court with Judge Shelby or to do my own lawsuit again. 2020 was it, and that obviously failed. I am not allowed to sue in the state of Utah. Because if I could get myself a lawyer, I could tell him about all this stuff. And he would go, crap, yeah, we do need to sue. And he wouldn't be saying that tithing is a donation. And I would just crush this church if I had an Aaron with me to sue the church in Pharaoh's court. So, yeah, that's one thing that did not happen. Brother turned against me instead, and thus fulfilled the Samson prophecy of the fire of the tails of the foxes. The Australian solar eclipse. Fox News also got busted at the same time. Hilarious. So, yep. So this year, but yeah, that is December. Crap. So yeah, the 32nd is 2026. I don't know if I have the calendar for that year. You can check. An hour and 30 minutes. More, there's 5 more hours. Like, nobody's listening to me anymore anyway. I'm getting a stuffy nose from needing to go to bed. And so the 18th of March, day after my birthday, when the 2020 Magna earthquake occurred. Okay. Interesting. Purim is on the 2nd to the 4th, then. Better not go that far. Oh my God. So, there you have it. That's what we're looking at now. That's why I do these videos. That's why I've been paying attention to all the news and church news and the church's conference talks and all of their little side stuff that they are involved in. Because of my associative memory, I can put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And so I just do the research, obtain the evidence, combine the evidence together, and I can do the videos that I do for you. So hang on, guys. Hang on. Oh, and Idaho check, if you're listening, the women left me.